You're listening to the All Things Geekery podcast. This is episode 14 of season 2 of Forging Ahead. I'm your host, Detached.
Hey guys, and I'm Victus.
Well guys, welcome to the show. We want to welcome all of our listeners, and if it's your first time with us, then we want to thank you for stopping in, joining with us, hanging out. We hope you enjoy this episode. Each month, we pick a new upcoming content creator or a seasoned vet in the geeky stratosphere to spotlight. And this month's featured community member is our friend Belghast over at Tales of the Aggronaut.
Yeah, definitely a good selection here. I've always well done the podcast and the blogs. Very engaging. And the way he presents stuff to everybody, I'm always in agreement of whether it's talking about different topics I've never thought of. I mean, specifically, I'm a big Destiny, fan and player, and so when he talks about that, he's always bringing up stuff. Like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, definitely one we want to shout out for this month's episode, this month's community member. And if you want to check him out, he's got his website where he hosts his podcasts, where it's agrochat.com. He also does his blog over at aggronaut.com. Definitely recommend you check him out. And sometimes he's on Twitch at twitch.tv/Belghast, Belghast. And, he's always active on Twitter. You can follow him out there at the same Belghast. I definitely recommend you go check him out.
In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Rockstar's latest hit, which is Red Dead Redemption 2, and how it could be one of the best games of the modern age. We're also going to be discussing the post-apocalyptic disappointment that is Fallout 76. And we're also going to be wrapping things up by talking about Destiny 2's latest addition in the game, which will be Black Armory, and why it has the community super excited.
So, to start off, we're going to go back and talk about that Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a game everybody, including myself, and I know you have, super excited about.
Yes. Extremely excited. Like, I want to get my hands on this game so bad. It's funny. So the family and I, we love sitting down and watching the fail videos of Red Dead Redemption 2. It is hilarious, the things that are coming up in this game.
Oh, I mean, it's right along with every Rockstar game that comes out that they've produced. Is you always have those fails, and you always have just the shenanigans you can do in the game. I mean, you're supposed to go along, you're supposed to do the story, you're supposed to do that, but with this one, it takes it up to a next level in both. They have the immersive world they have in there, the story, but throughout all that, it's again another gem that they've produced. It's fantastic. So just fantastic game.
So good.
But I mean, talking about what they've done, I mean, is like you said, it's a knock out of the park. It's a game that takes you and immerses you in the Wild West of America in 1899, which at first.
That little southern twang
there. Can't help it. You can't help it. But I originally thought this was actually going to be a sequel to Red Dead Redemption 1.
It's actually a prequel. Not. Yes, it's a prequel. That was mind blowing when I found that out.
Yeah, it wasn't until I got to the actually you understand your character and where they take place. It's like, oh, okay. Well, we're going to die. Spoiler alert if you haven't played.
Spoiler alert, yes. You're going to die a lot in this game. Yeah. And they've got a massive story. I mean, they're talking about at least a 60-hour campaign. That's a lot of playtime for a Wild West shooting game.
Right. Absolutely. And with that story, I mean, unlike, and I'm going to use this term that, it was like GTA, but Wild West, or it's what Red Dead Redemption was. The story that we saw in Rockstar's last game, GTA 5, it had that city feel to it, that
Mm-hmm.
Some people couldn't really get into it, but this one, and mainly it was because I played Red Dead Redemption 1, I was seeing the backstory of this character that had such a tragic ending, and they're building up in his struggles to form his family, to build a house for his wife and son, and accomplishing that. And he had to do some bad things to get there, to establish all of this, but really puts a new emphasis. Like it's almost, I mean, because they're in line with each other, I want to go back and play Red Dead Redemption 1 to now have a new understanding of this character I'm playing, a new connection to this character.
I'm actually doing that right now. Well, not right now. I mean, we're recording this podcast right now, but I'm actually going back and playing, and I forgot how fun the game was. It's an old game too. So, playing back on the 360, it is backwards compatible, so you can play it on the Xbox One, but the story, the gameplay, it's got fun moments. The mechanics of the game can be rather frustrating at times, especially when you're riding your horse full speed and it's like you're on ice and you go sliding up a hill and you get launched through the air, and you're working on a mission and your horse doesn't work right. Yeah, there's some frustrating things that happen, but the story overall is good, and I'm excited to get my hands on the second game and really just kind of jump in. I love the open world feel games like this that just have tons and tons of things to explore, and they have really outdone themselves in the detail and the graphics area of this game. They really went above and beyond.
Game. Just a gorgeous game. Yeah, I absolutely agree. There's so many times when you could be playing the game and you just stand there and look out at this, 1900s America, the Wild West, and they did such a good job. I mean, we saw this in GTA 5 where you had some of those scenes, but because this is much more nature-based, it just takes on a different beauty to it, and they've really captured it all in this game. Another 10 of 10 on graphical design of a game right there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they've done an amazing job with it. So,
yeah, and right on your point, you wonder how much there is to play in that time period of America, but man, you have your house, you can go exploring. If you want to just go hunting, there's settlements. You have to deal with the natives, the locals, or different towns you encounter, and there's kind of a karma system per se.
There is, yeah.
Renown, something like that.
Renown, yeah.
Renown, and you could become infamous if you do a lot of bad things. I mean, you're part of a gang, so you do end up doing some bad things, but if you continue to do so, people will start talking about you more. You'll instantly start getting attacked by people. So that was really good that they put that in a game to keep you on your toes, and you get to choose. You get to choose who you get to be.
You do. Good decisions, bad decisions. Yeah, I think that's a really cool feature. As a completionist, both of us are, this is one of those games that could really just drive those types of players nuts because the world is so big, so many things.
It's just so much to do.
Yeah. And one really cool thing that I saw is that the map that we discovered in Red Dead Redemption 1 is actually in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. And if you look at it from a size comparison, it is really, really small compared to what we get in Red Dead 2. But you can go visit that area. You can see the old homesteader farm. You can see the corral where you first got to, wrangle the horse that you ride. It's really cool the way they've brought these stories in. Love it.
Yeah, and I mean, you're basically building the area that you start in Red Dead Redemption 1 in 2. So that was cool that you actually had a hand in that. They have a great house building montage in the game itself, which is just fabulous. Just great. Because you're sitting there, and I just stopped watching or listening to whoever was playing and just kind of sat back and just listened to it. Listen to it as your character sitting there building the house. And it was great. With that, We talked about the design, 10 of 10. We talked about the story, 10 of 10. Overall, the single player is just, I'm gonna use the term that you see in a lot of reviews, just a masterpiece. Just a masterpiece overall. And like you, I can't wait to actually get my hands on it, though I've watched enough gameplay to feel like I've actually played it.
I feel like I've played the game, yeah.
Right.
I do not own it. I feel like I've actually played it because I've watched some of the campaign. And it's very immersive, even from a standpoint, just to watch.
Oh, absolutely. One of those games that you could just sit down and watch somebody play it.
Yeah.
Because of the seamless cutscenes. They are most times they're in-game graphics, so there's seamless cinematics there in transition, and the dialogue and everything is just great. And I mean, like we're talking about the single player, we got to move on to the future multiplayer, though the beta's out right now and people are getting to play it.
Red Dead Online.
Which
is very curious how they're doing this. They've had multiple dates where this has been released to people who own Red Dead Redemption. And if I remember right, November 30th, if you own Red Dead Redemption, then this becomes available to you no matter what. But they had some specific dates that this was available for, depending on what version of Red Dead you pre-ordered, then you were able to get in for the beta. Which is kind of a cool way to do it. It keeps the servers from being overwhelmed by everybody, and kind of limited the population. Lets the company really see what the load balances are and see where they're missing things.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to have a beta test. But what's most impressive about this beta is that besides some random bugs here and there, it's been a smooth experience for people in the game itself.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not seeing or hearing a lot of issues with glitches or not playable, or the stuff you can do in there, or disconnects so far. So that part, well done, Rockstar. Which, I mean, who's to be shocked here? I mean, they know how to do an online multiplayer because they've done and still have GTA 5 online.
Yeah,
so,
and it's a very big game, huge game. People love playing it.
Yeah, and you see some similarities in what you can do in Red Dead Online compared to GTA 5.
Oh yeah,
a lot of the missions they're similar to the story, and the story of the single player of RDR2. But you could be carrying something going along, and somebody wanted it. Boom, you're dead. And you
can have another player come in and get you. And, so watch your back because they're going to be out to get you.
Yeah, absolutely. They've talked about it, and
the dreaded microtransactions.
Yeah.
For some reason, to me, microtransactions is a dirty word.
Yeah, it is.
It's a dirty word.
It's a dirty word, but online GT Online did it, and in some aspects, people could argue it's a pay to win because of the stuff you can buy, which is just wow. You win the game if you have some of the stuff.
You do, because of the way it functions.
Yeah.
I hope what they're planning to do in here, though, would be more cosmetics, and it wouldn't allow you to win specific situations and buy better gear than other people could get. Yeah.
And as long as Red Dead Online option to put myself in passive mode where I can just, hop in with my buddies and all of us can just go and play Quest or whatever together, I'm okay with it. As long as it has that option. When you start getting into areas where you can't do that, or the entire game where you can't do that, I mean, RDR1, I don't think had a passive mode. You were always vulnerable to other players, and there was a lot of goobers in that game.
Yeah.
A lot of sheriffs, too, where they played the law and went around protecting people. So that could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a fun mechanic for people to play. I think it's going to take a little bit of honing and getting used to. I'm pretty sure that the beta is going to bring out some things that they need to change. And again, it's a beta, so this is not the finished product by any means.
Yeah, and To your point, it isn't. You can do missions, you can create your character, and you can buy a lot of the stuff in the game itself. But the progression of the story, it's not. It's not as in depth as the main story, which is good. That'd be hard for them to produce an independent story for both, as large as that is. But I wonder what the end game is really. Can you go, get your own house? Yeah, you can buy your weapons. Can you get your own buggies, horses? What is the end game of online? Can people go back going?
Well, I hope what they do is keep the Red Dead series going with the story that they've had. We've got the prequel and Red Dead Redemption 1. Will they go trilogy level? Will they make a third one? Or is Red Dead Online how they're going to make that third story come alive? I mean, we're at MMO level now with Old West, and I love that feature. I love that it's an MMO. It's a multiplayer online. It's a massive world. I'm curious to find out what they do, how they run it, or will it turn into? I don't know. I really don't know what the plan is. They haven't really shared a whole lot from a design and development standpoint on this game for this feature.
Yeah. And then probably just be a growth of some point as they add it in and allow it to be good adaptation to what the essence of Red Dead is and how you play in Red Dead. So, so far, I mean, full trust in Rockstar for pulling it off. We'll see. We only got the experience of the beta, so we'll see what the full game entails. What happens when you have an entire server full of people? With having a lot of people, you also have multiplayer modes that you can kind of hop into. Very similar to what we had. I keep comparing it to GTA 5. It is very similar. A lot of aspects you'll see in there. You can hop in and let's play a death match with random people, or let's play, different modes that they have in there. And, with that, no modern multiplayer game is complete without an addition of a battle royale mode.
Yeah, this is true.
It's becoming a staple. You can't release a AAA game without a battle royale mode of some way, shape, or form. Not necessarily a bad thing. The way they've implemented it's not a 100-person battle royale. It can be up to 32 people if you so decide. And the way to play it is you start out with really nothing. You either start out with a bow and arrow or some throwing knives and go have fun. And
from the old Wild West like this, who knows where they would end up going with it. I would like to see some old actual historic battles reenacted. That would be really cool in something like this.
That would be something.
You take something like Tombstone and reenact, things like that. That would be a cool little side deal for a game like this.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fantastic. Being able to reenact with your buddies, or going back to the single player, being able to, if they do any type of DLC, you get to be a part of that historical event.
Yeah, that would be good. See, we should be game developers. Come on.
And on a different note, random thought is that maybe it takes away from the storyline that is happening in Red Dead, because none of this happened historically.
Right. Yeah.
What happened? You're doing a lot of this, so maybe they try to keep away from historical stuff as much as possible. Who knows?
Who knows?
So far, Red Dead Redemption 2 single player, 10 of 10.
Red Massive, Dead Online, huge win. Yeah, great job, Rockstar. Great
job, Rockstar. Red Dead Online has potential, looks good, very smooth, and we'll wait to see.
We'll wait to see, but very promising.
Yes.
The other game that we're getting ready to talk about, though, not so promising, and has actually got the gamers quite up in arms, and that would be Fallout 76. Ouch.
Yes. Ouch.
Bethesda is,
What? Wow. I mean, so everybody come out and they've fan base has been wanting it for a long time, is to have a Fallout game,
Yeah.
but multiplayer. That's what we wanted.
Amazing idea. Multiplayer Fallout, huge win. Definitely not executed well at all. I don't know.
No.
I really don't know what happened here. I've not done a lot of research other than the fact that it's buggy. There's two lines of thoughts, and everything that I've seen is people love it or they're hating it, and there's more hating than loving going on.
Yeah. It's definitely, and I'm going to be, a lot of people agree with this statement, is that it's a Fallout 4.5 in types of graphics and everything. Yes, they're higher fidelity. There's more detail there. There's especially more world there because we're in West Virginia. Take me home to the play. I mean, just get that song. Just get that song stuck in your head. But we're in that area, but with that, there's nothing else. There's just the world, and it does have that feel of the Fallout game. But like I said, there's nothing there. There's no non-robot NPCs. So
that was a terrible design idea.
Yeah,
why would you have a multiplayer open world game like this and no NPCs?
No NPCs interact. Yes, you have vendors, and sometimes the robots comment, and you can interact with them to get you to tell you something. But along with that interaction, there's no decision dialogue with the interactions that you have.
Yeah.
So, which was a staple of Fallout. You can be extremely rude person to people and say no or dismiss them, or you can be extremely supportive in your decisions. They didn't have that in there.
Well, and then they just took one of the foundations of the game out, and I think that was part of the big mistake that they made, is they tried to change what was successful in the game, and that's always a failure from these game developers. Is hey, the game was a huge success, let's change it.
Yeah,
I mean, why make that decision?
You just don't mess with the DNA of the game. I get extra enhancements, but when you start messing with the DNA of the game, I mean, and that's what people looked after in the Fallout games, is you had the decision, you had the NPCs, and because you have no NPCs, you don't even have a story now for people to follow along and interact with. Yes, there's audio logs and notes you can find, but
that's not the same.
You can miss stuff.
Yeah, you can miss stuff, and there's something about walking up to an NPC, talking to him, getting a quest point or information, much different than, hey, I found this note page in a dark corner of an alleyway.
Yeah. And with having NPCs, you form connections with those characters in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you feel for what they do and how their outcome in the game is, and how you will not instantly shoot them as soon as you come across them or whatever happens. So, man, I don't know why.
To me, this is we don't want to spend the funding to hire the actors to do the voiceover acting for these NPCs. So let's cut corners here. That's really the only viable reason that I could think that they would want to cut NPCs from a game. Let's save money.
Maybe.
I don't know.
And that, I mean, it could also be, for whatever weird reason, this kind of goes into the next kind of downside of Fallout, is the abilities to the server to handle this type of information, to handle NPCs and what people do to the NPCs. And that goes in our next point, is they modified, one of the staples of Fallout is that you go out, you collect stuff, you could bring stuff back to wherever you call home, and you dump all the stuff, and all the stuff stays there, and you have basically unlimited storage no matter the container. Well, in Fallout 76, because people can build in your world, and you have one single storage, that's your stash, and you have the storage on yourself. Well, you can only hold so much without it really adversely affecting you, so you put stuff in your stash. Well, the stash has a carry limit, which is really, really low compared to what you can actually hold in Fallout World. So people are seeing that. And yes, Bethesda said they're going to fix it, but the original argument was that they wanted to limit due to server constraints because it could bog down the server if everybody's storing like millions of items, which I'll admit, I'm a collector. I do.
I'm a hoarder.
Hoarder. Yeah, there's the word. There's the word. I am a hoarder. I would definitely be one of those. And everybody I've watched play is the exact same way. They've almost instantly hit the cap on their storage, and they have to make these very early decisions in a game of, well, do I take this out or do I not have this here? And they have to do that every time they come back. So that is, wow.
Again, lame, #fail. I mean, all the hashtag of failing you could think of right here. It's just a big fail.
Yeah.
You know, for gamers like us that are collectors, that are completionists, that love doing things like this, to take an MMO style game and basically undo the foundation of what made this game so successful. Yeah, big fail on Bethesda's part. Yeah.
And load of bugs. I mean, there's no mod support. I get that now, but it could be allowed, say, in your own private server. That's another thing that needs to happen in private servers. How they would pull that off, and maybe they would only have to do that with their own servers, or maybe that could be hosted on somebody else. I don't know. But
I don't know.
That is another staple that they took away.
One of the big positives that kind of came from is when people are actually syncing up in the game to do, you know, multiple things together. They're running together, fighting off the so-called wasteland creatures, and you know, people really aren't focused on the negatives of the game anymore. They're focused on doing what they should: have fun in the game, play together, fight things, kill things. But that's kind of a limiting factor if that's all you have. If the foundations of the game aren't there, then that's not a sustainable environment for a good game at all.
And that's basically the I mean, if you really want to break it down, is you hop in, play with your dudes, you just shoot stuff, collect stuff, and you can somewhat build a house. And of course, then there's the end game of you know, launching a nuke. That's considered end game. And it takes a lot to get really leveled up, but there's so much more that we experienced in the Fallout 4 universe, especially Fallout 4, but just Fallout universe up to this point, that's like, it's missing. It's Fallout 76 just a shell of what we've come to expect from Bethesda and their Fallout games. Really is.
And you know me and Bethesda, I don't get along with this gaming company very well at all. We won't go into those specifics. I kind of rant about this company, but again, this is why I rant, because they continue to do things like this. And there's been previous games that they have failed in miserably, but they promote things in such a hefty way that they hype it up, they promote it, they get people's hopes up because they deliver things like this. So yeah, I can see why people are frustrated and upset. You know, the community's comparing it to another game that did not do well at all and is just now seeing some support, and that is No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
You know, another game that was hyped up really big and
huge.
Definitely.
Huge.
Yeah, it did not deliver at all.
Yeah, they did not. And like you said, you know, it's doing a lot better. People really like the changes. No Man's Sky. And you really wonder how, I mean, Bethesda's going to have to make huge changes to the way 76 plays to really allow that field to come back. You know, I get the limiting on the building storage. A little bit too drastic there. Fix that. Fix your bugs. There's still so many. And I get it. Open worlds, you're always going to have bugs, but it's basically the exact, well, I say it's going to be the same engine, but it's been the same engine for a while. But extremely similar to Fallout 4, and you would think some of these bugs would be worked out, but you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I still say companies cutting corners.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, to each his own. I know there's people out there that like the game. I know there's a ton of people that don't. Yeah, this is one that I won't be getting. Yeah. Even if they do the fixes, this is just, it's not on my radar. It's not something that I'm excited to even go try, even if they do fix it.
Yeah. And you know, I wish we would be talking about it in a better light, and the great Fallout game it should be. But now we're talking about the disappointment that it is at the point in time. And maybe we'll change our tune come however long from now, and it actually ends up being a great game. But right now, not recommended to buy. Do not.
If I had more than 2 thumbs, I would turn all of them down.
Multi-thumbs down. Yes.
Multi-thumbs down. Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, definitely multi-thumbs down. But the reason we're here, well, we're here for multiple reasons, but we've got some very large news that came out about Destiny 2, and that is Season 5 is officially here, known as Season of the Forge. Also, the Black Armory DLC is dropping very soon. Mm-hmm. That is going to be actually releasing. We're going to be, playing it, very excited for it, on December 4th, and you must own the annual pass to be able to get into the Black Armory.
Right.
So I'm sure there are going to be some haters out there hating on the whole annual pass thing, and there's going to be complaints, but I think Bungie is in a very, very good spot right now. They have really, really turned the community around, the game around. The hype that is in the community right now is pretty unprecedented for, I think, ever in the Destiny universe.
Yeah. I would say we haven't had this type of really, really good hype since after the Taken King, because they did so well with that. Then people were really hyped for. See, right after that was the Wrath of the Machine.
Yeah.
Right.
One of my favorite.
Right. Mine too, because of the style and everything, but people really hyped going into it because of how well. And this is another one. And they're even more so because of how well Bungie has kept up with story updates, things you can do in the game itself, and it kept content rolling. In what we had between the Taken King and Wrath of the Machine, it was, there was some little bit of droughts in there of stuff. It's kind of like you had the stuff in Taken King, nothing in between, or if we happened to fall on a seasonal event, it was in there. And then there was Wrath of the Machine. Right now, we have Forsaken, which was amazing. People are still playing through it. I'm playing through it again, getting stuff unlocked. And, whole, just so much to do in that. And then there was little trickles of, drip feeding of stuff to do, of new unlocks, of evolving worlds. And now we're about to go into our next one here in just under a week now to get the next DLC. So, man, the hardcore Destiny community, the core Destiny community is excited. I am too. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I think definitely new season of what Bungie's got up their sleeve. I think the overall hype of the game, the position of the game, I think everything is sitting in a really good place. I think for the way the game has played out over the last 2 months now, the players have had a good chance to level up their power. They've had a good chance to really see some of the in-game. And with Black Armory, we're now going to see a new light level, or power level, actually. It's going to be increasing by 50 power levels. So the max for Forsaken right now is 600 power level. With Black Armory, we are seeing a 650 max power. And dang, that seems like a lot from where I am right now, because I'm only around 575.
Right. Yeah. It's good that they're doing it. And they've talked about in recent update where they announced all their kind of plan for Season of the Forge, Season of the Drifter, and then Season of the Redacted is redacted. Yeah.
That's just a cool word, redacted.
But each time is going to go up by 50 power levels. So that's good. They've got to keep us grinding, keep us going for it. My one worry, and they confirmed this, is that we'll still be able to increase our light levels with our normal weekly power engrams.
Mm-hmm.
And
you will.
Has me a little bit worried in, especially those that really grind out Destiny. Like really, I'm talking about the streamers. I'm talking about those that play it every night, no matter what. is how quickly they're going to hit that cap and be ready for in-game content. And then by them being already at 650 or 700 when it comes time, is how the end game is actually going to treat them. Now, if say people hit that that are currently in Black Armory, it's going to be 650. They hit 650 and the end game's hard, or it's harder than 650 or and on. Great, that's fantastic. That's what I want, and that's what it looks like it's going to be, especially when you talk about the possible new raid or the new raid on the way.
There is a new raid on the way.
Well,
yeah, a little bit of a spoiler there. I think one big thing with the power level is, if you look where we were when we went into the Forsaken, the raid dropped, and I think you had to be 540 or 550 to get into the raid. So people were extremely underleveled by the time the raid was actually released. And I think we're going to be kind of in the same position by the time the raid releases for Black Armory. Now, we keep saying raid because Bungie is saying raid. They're not saying raid lair. They are saying that this is a new category. It's not as big as a regular raid, but it is way bigger than a raid lair that we've seen traditionally released in, Destiny 2. So I really am curious to see what they do with the power level, how that plays in. You do not have to have an annual pass to reach the new power level. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that they didn't lock that. The players that want to go test it, that just have Forsaken and maybe don't have the money just to drop every single time something happens for a game, I get it. Then they can still go do those activities. They can reach 650. The soft cap is still going to remain at power level 500. And I think the way that they did it, they're going to increase, like you said, those power drops for the prime engrams, and they're going to give them a bigger bump when they do drop. So I think the players who don't have the annual pass have got a pretty decent shot at trying to get up in power level and still have a chance to go do things in-game activities outside of the raid and the stuff that comes with the annual pass. And I kind of like that. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's props to Bungie for one. Maybe somebody doesn't want to pay for the annual pass quite yet, and they want to feel out Black Armory, whatever it may be. You can still, it's not a hard stop on your experience in Destiny. You can still level up. You can keep up with people. You won't be able to experience the raid. You won't be able to experience the actual story or content of the game, but you're not left in the dust. You're
right.
not. So they're still keeping people up there. But, talking about the raid, official name for it, Scourge of the Past. Ooh.
Yeah,
whatever.
that sounds very menacing.
Right. I really wonder, is that going to tie in with what the Black Armory is, or is it going to be something separate?
I don't know. If you read what Bungie has dropped in, they say it's going to have its own storyline. So what does that mean? Does that mean got something off on its own, path, and it's not going to relate to anything? I don't think so. I think Bungie has learned their lesson on that front for sure. I hope, anyways. I think they have seen too much fallout over the last year to make that mistake. I think with this one, they are taking us in a new direction. We had the Dreaming City. It was an amazing environment. It had its story. It had so many secrets attached to it. And I think they are really playing on that. I think they're giving us another expansion that is going to have an amazing story. Maybe it doesn't tie directly into the Dreaming City, but I think, again, it's going to be loaded with secrets and loaded with that, old school Destiny feel that people love. So I think from a raid standpoint, like I said, it's going to be a raid as what Bungie's calling it. They're saying it doesn't fit in the raid lair category because it's way bigger than a raid lair.
Right.
And they said that the mechanics of this one is going to feel a lot like the old Wrath of the Machine, which out of all the raids was my favorite from Destiny 1. I love that one.
I'm excited because if it's comparable to Wrath of the Machine, which I'm right up with you, I really loved a lot of the mechanics because they were so different from each other. and not saying we haven't seen that in Destiny 2, but it must because of the environment that was Wrath of Machine really played into it. But very mechanic heavy. There wasn't a whole lot of like burn down boss type scenarios. It was you had to learn the mechanics of the game itself to really play through. And talk about my concern about the light levels. Scourge of the Past is going to release December 7th, so just 3 days.
Yeah,
after,
literally, we've got 3 days.
3 days to get to 650 or however high power level you can to start the raid to try to go for world first. So, that's going to play into it, and that's always the concern is the world first, and who's going to get it and what power level you be. So, it'll be interesting to see what the top players are going into the raid if they can actually hit 640 come time. I do hope it says recommended, but I do hope it pulls a last wish, and by the time you're hitting the last boss, it's a 700 power or 680 power level type fights. Get that difficulty in there to really.
I think it will. Well, I hope it will. Like I said, the whole recommended 640 power level, that's kind of intimidating right now because the highest rank is 600. That's 40 power levels above where we're at.
Yeah.
They did say that there's no minimum power level to actually start the raid layer, which is interesting.
Weird.
So at 550, 560, you can jump into a raid layer that is 70 power levels above where you're at. I don't really understand the mindset behind that. So
if it doesn't have loot, why not? If you can't get loot unlocked from the game like you could in Last Wish by doing the puzzles or activating the wishes, there's really no harm to it. Yeah. I mean, talking about World of Warcraft, I can walk right into one of the end game raids as a lowly level person. I was going to die. I can walk in and just look at it. But if I tried to do anything, I was going to die. And why not? Let's let them in, let them explore. They can only get so far, but, entice them. So definitely looking forward to that and grinding for the time.
There's going to be a lot of grinding in this one.
So much. I mean, for one, I think they're called exotics. I know I haven't seen one in a while.
What are those?
I don't know.
What are those? I don't know of this word called an exotic because I haven't gotten one Forsaken Bungie. Okay, I lie. I got one Forsaken exotic in the time that Forsaken dropped, and that was for my hunter. It was I don't even remember the name of it because I haven't used it because I was distraught. One exotic, and I got Thunderlord. So technically I got two, but one was a quest and it was automatically given. So shut your face, Bungie. I only got one. Make it better. I'm hoping that they do a better job with exotics and fixing that, and they have. They've I think done a really good job at playing into people's feedback and jumping in. So I think this season is going to be a whole new experience for a lot of players, people that are new to the game. And this is sidebar conversation, excuse me. Speaking of new to the game, I had a random comment on my YouTube channel a couple of days ago from someone who has never played Destiny ever. But
Wow.
They jumped into the Destiny 2 free PC version that was dropped for Destiny 2 Vanilla. They jumped in and looked at a few of the videos and were asking questions. Is it worth getting Forsaken? Is it worth putting some time and effort into? Because they really like the game. So good job, Bungie, for opening Vanilla Destiny up and marketing that for new players who have never experienced such an amazing universe. Great job.
Yeah, I've been seeing the exact same thing about how many people were able to experience Destiny 2. You had it free on PlayStation. You had it free on now Battle.net on the PC, and it's really bringing people in because they're seeing what the story is now that, and the gameplay now that Bungie has tweaked it with Forsaken, and they're like, oh, we're just enjoying it. It's great, and there's even so much more. There's a campaign, and then another campaign to go play. Yeah. So, let alone all the grinding or all the stuff you can collect, and all the worlds you get to explore, the different types of modes you can play. So that's awesome. That's great, and I'm seeing a lot from the community out there as well of the exact same thing.
Yeah, a lot of new players are experiencing Bungie's a wonderful world that they created, and there's lots of new things. We could have so many sidebar conversations. One very interesting topic that did come up. So, if you are kind of a veteran player, you are more than likely up to date, and you are out in the world. You keep up to date with what the gaming news in. For Bungie, you are watching for This Week at Bungie, you're on Twitter, you're looking at YouTube channels. And this little nugget kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people, and it's called the Veteran of the Hunt bundle. And not a lot of people heard about it when it was originally announced, but it's a specialty bundle for people who had Destiny 2 Forsaken and played it before October 16th. Bungie is going to release this specialized bundle that's got emblems, emotes, consumables, and some shaders. The emotes are actually really cool looking. They're exotics. And if you guys played Destiny 2's Forsaken game before October 16th, then this specialty bundle is actually going to drop. I want to say it was slated to drop with Black Armory, but I am almost 100% sure that I saw something in the This Week at Bungie saying it was now going to be pushed out to December 18th with one of the hot fixes.
It's good. I mean, that's another prop to Bungie for, hats off to the veterans that have been with the game since the beginning of a DLC or of the game itself. They've done these time again. We're starting to see more and more of them rewarding people that have been around, so that's great. I wonder if the items in the package will be exclusive. I doubt they will be. It would be cool if they were. I expect the emblem will be.
I think the emblem, yeah, I bet the emblem will be.
Emblem will be, because it's really popular for them to do exclusive emblems for things, whatever it may be. The emote might. They've done sometimes exclusives with those, but I don't. Let's say the rest of it might. I do expect the emblem. I don't know about the else, but that's pretty cool that they're doing that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like this one. And you said for people who are veterans. So, speaking of veterans, when did you start playing Destiny?
Oh gosh, what a question.
Right, I was sitting here thinking. You asked that. I'm trying to remember. I was part of the beta when Destiny 1 Vanilla.
Oh, day one. I can't believe I forgot about this. I was there midnight. Well, beta. Yes, beta. I was there midnight GameStop picking up my collector's edition of Destiny.
Yeah.
So I got my little Peter Dinklage bot ghost. I'm proud of it.
I did not have the collector's edition.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, so beta of Destiny 1. So it's we've gotten rewards throughout this time for being a veteran of if you played since this time before. It's great that they're targeting still again, especially for newcomers that are coming in that maybe didn't play Destiny 1 or just now picking up Destiny 2 and they got Forsaken, they picked it up and they played it. So hats off to them for continuing to reward the community.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard rumors, you said veterans, so it made me think I should have put some kind of thought around the whole events that are coming as well, because we've got some events dropping for the Christmas era for Destiny 2. And I want to say Bungie said that they were going to have some veteran rewards specific to the Dawning event that's going to hit. Now, I don't have any facts around that, so I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah.
And so technically, I've just pleaded the fifth.
And way they've been playing off, the season events that come around. It's going to be an exciting time because we're going to have this DLC drop. Then we're going to have all the grinding and stuff you get to experience in the Dawning. So it's going to be a great time to hop in and play Destiny, let alone to experience, if you haven't experienced Forsaken, you get to experience Black Armory and what it entails, what it has to entail. But I mean, kind of linking back, talking more about Black Armory, I'm excited where they're doing, and this is a huge announcement for Bungie, is that they're going to introduce matchmaking for basically the new public events of Awakening the Forges. which is the kind of the staple of the Black Armory. You got to go and you got to awaken these lost forges, weapon forges. But to do so, they're implementing a matchmaking system, which is huge.
What the Bungie community has asked for so long.
So long. Bungie did outright say it's our first time. We're going to work to refine it, but this is what we got right now. I look forward to trying it. I expect some hiccups in the beginning. It's their first time. You expect matchmaking to be pretty simple, but I bet there's a lot to it in how it searches for people and everything like that. So, exciting things there. For weapon exotics, you get 4 more drop weapons, 1 more, I expect, quest weapon, which is my beauty, the last word.
The last word. They did not specifically say the last word, but they did.
True.
They did show the lovely imprint burnt into the side of a wall that was used, by a golden gun. And we know from Hunter lore and that story, you guys that are huge Destiny fans will know what I'm talking about. The golden gun of a hunter actually formed after the last word. So there are tons and tons of things pointing towards the direction that we will have a quest for the last word. I sucked using that weapon. I was terrible with it. I never got good using it. But one of the most iconic weapons in the Destiny universe.
Yes. And me personally, that was my D1 before the hand cannons kind of took a little hit there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Last word was the best. I used it everywhere. PvP, PvE. I had it with me up until you really had to have certain weapons in the game to fight certain bosses. It stayed with me. And I look forward to having a gun for that has so much lore behind it. Others do, no doubt about that. But for one that has such a really kind of, referencing Wild West again, lore to it, between a rogue, one of the few rogue guardians we've ever seen in Destiny, and the hero guardian, I guess you could say that fought with them.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I look forward to the fleshing out. I mean, again, like you said, they haven't confirmed it, but man, were there massive hints to it.
Yeah,
huge
massive hints. Well, and even the database is showing some of the traits of Tex Mechanica, which we know is the creator of this weapon, and they've got some of the traits of this weapon that are actually out in the database right now that people have gone out and found. So yeah, lots of things are pointing towards the last word. And like you said, we know that we've got 3 other exotics that I think are going to be somewhat quest based. I guess you could call it a little bit of a quest, because the way they explained it is they want to incorporate some crafting into the game. And what a novel idea to have a MMO with some crafting in it, right?
Right.
But so this whole story being based around going and finding these lost forges is truly a forge, a blacksmithing forge that made these iconic golden era age weapons that were kind of hidden away from the Vanguard. And what the developers were saying is 801 is pretty untrusting of the Vanguard and the Guardians. She doesn't care for them, doesn't like them. So I'm really, really, really excited and curious to see where they go with this story. But they did say we're going to have some forging to do for these new exotics and some of the weapons that we get from these forges, and that really excites me. So that just means that Bungie is really kind of thinking outside of the box, and they're willing to change and kind of be on the forefront again. They're not trying to play it safe. They're not trying to do some silly stuff like what happened a year and a half ago. I love it.
Yeah, like I said, huge hype with what's coming in Black Armory, and kind of last note of a person that we've kind of dismissed in D2 and into Forsaken, because he hasn't really had a lot of goodies for us in a while, is Mr. Zur.
Old Squid Face,
Agent of the Nine. Bungie said, he's going to be there. And he's continue to have faded engrams, which will only drop year 1 gear. So little concerning there. I wouldn't say it's concerning. It's usual, but they did say that they're going to start. They have plans for him to possibly become like a bounty vendor, which it could be for weapons. It could be it needs to be powerful bounties for the rarity he comes around every weekend. He's not always there, so it needs to be stuff that we can really grind from him, and he needs to have worth to be there. Like in D1, he had all the consumables of, like, you could re-roll stuff of your weapons or your armor, or with his needles that you could buy, or other unlockable consumables you had with him.
That is hilarious. I forgot all about the glass needles and being able to roll those weapons and armor. I forgot all about that. That was such a cool mechanic.
Yeah, and this only came from him, and he needs to have a reason for one to be as rare as he is every weekend, and two, he needs to have a reason to be there. And two, those things need to be, if they are bounties, they need to be long-lasting or drawn out for a good reason to do stuff. Part of it. Yeah. If they are staple quests or bounties or whatever, they really need to have you try for them, and they need to give a good. So I hope they execute on all those to really make Xur valid.
Do you think that Xur will ever be gone, like out of existence? Do you think they'll ever write him out of the story anytime?
If they do, it'll be because there's a storyline that involved him, and thereby a good reason for him to no longer be there. And that is the day which we will finally figure out who the heck the 9 are.
Well, and I guess the sidebar. I guess the reason I asked that question is because with the Dreaming City and what we're seeing with Marasov, we got to see the emissary of the 9 just recently, and she came in and talked to Marasov. So does that mean we're going to get to see a little bit of the 9? Like, are they actually still around? Or I don't know. I would like Bungie to expand on that story. I've always wanted to know more about Xur, where he came from, why does he come and all this stuff. I think Bungie is really limiting their story if they don't do something with him other than just make him a vendor.
Yeah. And I don't, maybe there's something regarding that in Drifter, but I don't see currently any indication that we'll have any story of the 9 in Black Armory, unless the Black 9 were behind the Black Armory. I don't see any hints of that, but that would be an interesting wild card to happen. But yeah, so we'll see what they can do with Xur, and can't wait to the 4th. I mean, we're already playing part of season 5 right now. We're able to, see some of the aspects to it, but we'll actually be able to play the content.
Yeah,
December 4th.
And that's right around. It's the 29th.
Yeah.
So this coming Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Reset, and we've got Black Armory.
Yeah.
So very excited to jump in. I am looking forward to syncing up with the old clan mates and going and seeing what this is all about. We've got so much stuff left to do in the Dreaming City and in the Forsaken area too. Got a lot of things we haven't completed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can't wait.
Definitely can't wait. But guys, that wraps up this episode. We want to thank you guys for joining in with us. It's always amazing to hang out with you all. So thank you all for your support and just joining in and hanging out with us. It's amazing.
Yeah, always appreciate the support, guys, listening. We create the content so that you can enjoy it, and for us to talk and for you to possibly agree, not agree, and have fun. So if you enjoyed our content, be sure to stop by and check us out at our website, allthingsgeekery.com. You can also find the show on iTunes, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. You can also connect with us on Twitter. We're really active out there. We've got Instagram, YouTube, and a host of other social media platforms as well. We'll have all those links in the show notes for you.
Yeah, and if you guys have any specific topics you would like us to look at in any future episodes, you guys can email those to us at podcastatg@gmail.com. But guys, that wraps up this podcast. So as always, you guys stay awesome, and we will see you in the next episode.